Hello there, everybody. How are you all doing today? It's time for more E3 2010 press conference, Nintendo coverage, all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, if you've seen one of these, you probably know what's gonna happen, so.
Yeah, ideally. And if you haven't, and this is your first time, I have a whole playlist of these, and I think they've been pretty fun, personally.
Yeah, go back and watch the other ones. They're really fun.
Yeah, go back and watch the other ones. They are quite fun. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed making them. I'm sure I'd enjoy watching them. Hell, I basically do that when I edit them. So even if there's not much editing, I still give them a bit of a glance over. So anyway, so this one uploaded by Cars Lock. Once again, probably just going to be the usual guy we go to for these. Link will always be in the description if anybody wants to watch this without our commentary. In case you just want to see something or stuff that maybe we talk over, etc., etc. All right, Megan, are you ready?
I am.
All right, so they have a countdown. Once again, I'll be adjusting the audio on the fly because sometimes the audio is weird. So if it seems quiet, I'll turn it up. And if it seems too loud, I'll turn it down. That's just kind of how it's going to be, really.
Good morning.
Now, will Nintendo be much better than Microsoft? Because Microsoft's was pretty boring.
In the Nokia Theater, and to all
Yeah,
of you
I was really not a huge fan of Microsoft's this year.
For gamers, this is the best week of the year.
How's the volume for you?
You can just feel the buzz in the air.
It's maybe a little quiet on my end, but I can always turn it up.
No, Megan, because remember, if it's quiet for you, it's probably quiet for everybody else, so.
After all,
yeah, I'll turn it up a little bit.
The land of touch screens and big screens, HD and 3D, button control, motion control, and no controller at all.
Yeah.
The headlines just seem to spin on technology. But this morning, let me adjust that perspective just a little bit. Because technology is only a tool. The end product, the thing that does matter, is the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And the best experience
so I just see what they're going for.
Always come when technology and game design are perfectly matched. Here at E3, with thousands of people battling to see and try everything at once, considering the experience is the only real way to make sense of it all. And this year, we intend to show you how Nintendo, once again, is raising the bar in terms of game experience. Let's begin with details on an experience you've been waiting for.
Really? That we've been waiting for? Okay, I'm curious what this could be. Oh, Zelda. Oh, we get to see more Zelda. Oh, Majora, look at that.
Sword?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, it has to be.
That's pretty interesting that they decided to lead the conference off with Zelda, because I feel like if they were doing this nowadays, it would be their, and just one last thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay, that was weird. That wasn't on my end. That was on the recording.
That was probably YouTube.
No, I think that was actually on the recording. I don't think that was YouTube either. Because that wasn't like we're loading. That was like a glitch.
Nintendo's E3 presentation.
That's fair.
Today, I will introduce the newest version of Zelda, made exclusively for Wii, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I think this game will be remembered as a key turning point in Zelda's long history.
Is that true? Okay, so, I don't know much about Skyward Sword. I actually feel like you probably know a bit more than me about how this game kind of did.
I have not played it, so everything that I have heard has been from stuff online. I think general reception of it is that it was pretty okay. I think it's roughly good until near the end of the game, and then there's a lot of backtracking. And I don't remember if it was on this version of the game or if it was on the HD remake, but if I'm not mistaken, I do remember hearing about there being some pretty game-breaking glitch in the game that would break your save.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was
That's
like
not
near
good.
the end of the game too, from what I recall. Because like I'm trying to remember the exact details. I think what it is that if you pick up a quest from one NPC and then you go and finish something else, it doesn't let you finish the first quest, and that's the quest you need to progress. I don't remember
Oh.
the exact details, but yeah, it was something like that. Or if you talk to him again. Yeah, what it was is that he'd grab the quest from him, and then if you talk to him again before you finished it, the game would consider the quest completed, even though it's still waiting for the flag. And there was no way
Hmm.
to get around it aside from loading a previous save, from what I understand. I'm pretty sure that was in Skyward Sword.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because I know very little about Skyward Sword, actually. I think I heard that it's not exactly, like, a favorite
Yeah,
among
I think it's pretty
fans.
mixed in general. A lot of people are not really a fan of the motion controls in the game, and like they have the whole mechanic of like flying through the clouds and stuff that in this version of the game can be
Hmm.
really annoying because there's a lot of going from the ground up into the clouds, over to somewhere, back to the ground, and then back up to the clouds and that kind of stuff. So,
Hmm.
because I do remember that being a big deal with the HD port where they had the quick travel up to the clouds, like with
Huh?
the one amiibo. Right, because in the original game, you'd have to walk to a certain point to get back up to the clouds, but in the HD remake, if you have the left wing amiibo, you could scan it and it would just bring you up, so there's a lot less backtracking.
Yeah. People are upset about that, from what I remember.
Yeah, because they locked a convenience feature behind an amiibo.
Yeah, which is honestly pretty silly.
It
For
is, yeah.
Nintendo to do, I mean, right? Um.
Yeah.
Okay, so Miyamoto is kind of wrong here, I guess. Unfortunately, it's not exactly gonna be like super great, like known in a good way. I guess
Yeah.
like I don't know, maybe consensus will change on it, like it usually does with Zelda, or even games that are just like bad in general. Maybe people will really like it eventually, but yeah, I don't know. I just remember reception being pretty mixed.
Yeah, because like, I don't know if the reception of it's changed since the HD port came out, but yeah, it's, from what I understand, a pretty mixed Zelda game. I think most people do like Twilight Princess a lot more,
Hmm.
so. And I think the big thing about it was just the motion controls, because like, if I'm remembering correctly, they will demo it off here, and it's not the greatest, but they do fix that a little bit, but it's still not super great from what I understand. But I've never
Mm.
played it.
Yeah. Okay.
At E3 2004, I stood on stage
I do
holding
remember
this
that.
sword and this shield.
Yeah.
I like how they gave it a little shine, by
I
the
stood
way.
on stage holding this sword and this shield.
Also, I love the fact that they
Adventures
actually
in
have the
Hyrule would
props
not be
and they
possible
decided to like
without this sword
CG
and
them in.
shield,
At least those look
and
CG
the
to me.
items used to solve
No, I think
puzzles,
those are
and the map
legit.
system used to confirm
Are
your
they?
location.
Maybe
I
they
think
just
they
look
are.
weird because of
In
the
one
green
sense,
screen.
the history of the Legend of Zelda series has been a history of refining
Yeah, because
the
like
interface
at least
which
I
makes
don't know
each
why
time
they would
the
make it,
mechanics easy.
why they'd CG
For
those
many
in.
years, I've been asking if
I
there
mean, unless
wasn't
they
a
don't
way to
have them
create
anymore.
a Legend of
But
Zelda game that would give you the freedom to use your sword and
Nah, they
shield
still
as
have
well as
them.
freely and naturally.
I'm pretty sure.
The answer I've come to this time
I mean, I'd be surprised
is
if they got
this.
rid of them.
The Wii Remote and Wii Motion Plus. When we were making Swordplay for Wii Sports Resort, I spoke with our team and I said, this is it. Let's make the next Zelda with this. With a sword this light, you can move it around as you like. And while in Twilight Princess, you use the nunchuck to move Link,
Like I do
this time,
I do like the idea of Skyward Sword, right? Because I know
Yeah.
this is after Nintendo did start leaning into the whole Zelda timeline,
it also makes
right?
using items very
Yeah.
Which is both kind of cool that they did, and also because it was like a fan thing for like forever,
press
right?
this button to choose your item.
Like in a weird way, the fans kind of made
Hard to understand
Nintendo's
without seeing
timeline
the
for
name
them.
screen, isn't it?
And then Nintendo was like, yeah, that's it. Then they
I
used
know.
it.
Hey,
Oh wait,
Bill,
spit.
are you on stage?
Yeah, right here.
Can you help me out? So, why
And,
don't you just explain the rest.
I'll do my best.
And yeah, and I know this is like the first game in the timeline, I think.
So, good morning, everyone.
I think so, yeah.
I'm here to show you Zelda,
Which is pretty cool.
the Wii Remote. You see, with Wii Motion Plus, the Wii Remote becomes my sword, right? And I've got my nunchuck, and that's going to be my shield.
See, like that's kind of cool, but does make Link look a little bit stiff.
Oh, so I can swing kind of at any angle
Yeah.
here.
Fun fact about this game, though,
This
is
strange.
Link
What's-
is actually
hang on.
left-handed,
Ow. What's
but
going on?
because they
Bill,
assumed
that's
that
not
most
right.
Americans
What?
were
You've gotta hold the
right-handed, they
shield more
actually
like a
flipped the
shield.
footage.
Wait.
And the sword like this.
Ow.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Yeah, I did remember that.
You-
Oh.
Woo, he's here.
But yeah, I always just found that kind of interesting.
It is.
And welcome. You know what? I think I'll explain it myself.
Yeah,
might be a
Miyamoto.
good idea.
Bill, you just take care of English,
Okay.
okay?
That
Yeah,
I
Bill, you have your job. Let Miyamoto play the game.
日本語でやります。これね、具体的に説明するとそんな難しくはない
I'll
んですよ。
explain it in detail, but it's really not.
I
that
do
difficult.
find it funny in a way that Miyamoto always
Just
insists on
imagine that
playing
you're
the game,
holding a
doing the
sword
fun
and a
part at
shield
the
yourself.
demonstration.
で使うのは
Yeah.
リモートの AB
Well, I think really it's like it works so well. He really is like kind of the embodiment of like a big kid running a video game
Other than that, all the
company,
actions are gonna be done
right?
using realistic-
Yeah.
Because like he does like I don't know how he is like in real life, obviously,
For a Zelda game is, of
Yeah.
course,
but like he does seem like the kind of guy who would legitimately just have fun doing
you
this.
just shake your right hand, the sword will come out,
Oh.
ですね。
and you can swing at any angle.
I do like how he's looking down at the remote going, oh, wait a
だから
minute.
Z を押せば
Yeah.
And if you press the Z button, you'll target in front of you.
さあこれで剣の動きを見てください。
Yeah, so this is gonna be the E3 where, you know, it's not really gonna do motion control any favors.
You can swing top to bottom, up and down.
Yeah.
じゃあちょっとキノコを切ってみましょうか
Let's。take a look at these mushrooms here.
Yeah, I do remember this bit actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
こういう感じですね。
It's very simple.
さあ
Do you think motion controls would ever come back?
Okay, here we see the deck of
Now that we have VR, I really don't think so. I think if we ever do motion controls again, it's gonna be through
The
VR.
only way to defeat it is to cut it
I mean,
the
yeah,
same
that makes the
direction its
most
mouth is
sense.
open.
Because, I mean, if you think about it, VR basically is motion controls, but with the headset on.
ダメですね。
Yeah, like VR is motion controls, but like expanded, you know?
見るの方が上手か。
Yeah.
And now with the advent of like PSVR 2 getting the adapter,
じゃあ次です。
it's a bit like it's still expensive, but like it's getting a bit easier to get into VR now.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm actually really excited about that. I want to be able to play some VR games on PC.
Yeah. So, you know, I think now that VR is starting to become a bit easier
Now, when you hold your
to get into, I think we're gonna start.
充填します。
Like, I
you can see
think
it
you know,
charge up with the power from the heavens.
motion controls like this are dead,
And
but
then you can let loose sword beams.
回転切りは両手を振ります。
I'd say
You can
it's
also do spin
probably
attacks
just
by swinging
better
both
this
hands
way, to
together
be
in the same
honest.
こういう感じ
direction.
で進んでいきます。
I mean, that's fair. I
So,
never
head
liked
here.
the vague gestures. Like, even when it came to the PS3 and, like, the 6-axis controls,
さあ
like,
Okay.
I never felt like it actually made any of the
Something
games
over
that
here, I
used it
see.
any better.
目玉がです。
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem. It never really enhanced like the experience. Like, sometimes sure,
見てるみたいなんですね。
but like it never. Well, like you said, it never really did like that good of a job.
じゃあ
Oh,
こう
if I try to cut it, it closes
Yeah.
the eye. But it's looking at the tip
At
of my
least I
sword.
never played anything that it was super good in, and it was even detrimental to a lot of games, including something
There we
like
go.
Lair.
こんな感じで
Yeah. So like I think
Kind of silly, but fun.
like now that we have like I said with VR, now it's
Now the real fight
like
begins.
you know you have games perfectly designed
This time I'm
for
gonna
it.
use the shield.
You know,
縦は右手を
Yeah.
振ります。
So it's, just the left-handed
where the
quick
experience is only enhanced.
オクタロックが出てきま
You
し
can
た
see an
ね。
Octorok has popped up here.
縦を構えてるの
I
で。
can use my shield to block his rocks.
じゃあこれを縦アタックで跳ね返しま
And
す
if。I do a shield bash,
よし。
then I can knock the rocks back at him.
Come on, Miyamoto, you got this, bud.
あれ
It's leggy.
A little bit.
あれ
All right.
There we go.
こんな感じですね。
This is what I mean, though, right? Like he's not like floundering, right? Like he's still
Yeah.
smiling while it's going. He's kind of like having little chuckles to himself, right?
Let me try again.
So like even with
Yeah.
this, he's like, you know, well,
大丈夫でしょうか。
yeah, he'll get it eventually. But you know, like it's not awkward. Like if this were on Microsoft or something, they'd be like, oh, wait, hold on, we gotta sort this out. You know, or with Sony, they do the same thing. With Miyamoto, it's like, you know, he's like the owner of the whole company, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's like, but he's having fun with it.
これはね、
Now, if you look at the Bokoblins, you'll notice that
Yeah,
they're
it is always
protecting
nice to
themselves with their
see.
swords.
だ
They're
から
trying to block
剣
my
の方から切っ
attacks.
たらダメです。
So I have to swing my sword in a way that gets around their blades.
よし。剣を構えてない方から。
You know, I
Also,
do
the
wonder.
goblins look really different in this game compared to like Breath of the Wild.
They do, right? They look very
Maybe I
different.
think I should take a break and have a little potion here.
But you know, I do wonder like who the next in line for Nintendo is. Like whenever Miyamoto does step down.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because I mean,
I think it would have
he's-
been Iwata if he were alive.
it would have been before, yeah, because like Miyamoto's the kind of guy where he's gonna work until he's gone. Basically, I doubt he'll ever like actually retire.
It took a little bit more than I expected.
If he does retire, it's probably gonna be like basically
Now, when
at
you're
the
in
end of his
battle,
life.
let me explain
Yeah.
the A button here. When you're
Essentially.
in targeting, you can use the A button to.
But even if he does like
jump.
retire, I
When
wouldn't be
you're not
surprised
in
if he's
battle,
still
you can
involved
hold the A
with
button
like
down
the
to
game
run
development,
around,
even
shake
on
the
a more
nunchuck.
casual basis.
Oh, for sure. People like Miyamoto just like can't retire, right? Like look at Miyazaki, right? Like he just retired like at least 6 times now, but he keeps going back because he keeps getting ideas, right?
Yeah, I think I've heard that he's retiring basically before every movie since like 2014.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of like especially a thing in like Japanese culture, right? Where they kind of
Yeah.
feel like they need to be a lot more involved, which is fair. I think that's pretty good for like someone who's a higher up, right? But it does basically mean they don't retire like ever, or if they do, they come back to it.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but at the same time, you know, with how much you work in these kind of jobs, like I don't know, I worry about the people who basically don't stop, right?
Nice is that this time in Skyward Sword, you don't have to point at the screen to aim. You just move the Wii remote in front of you, like you're moving a real slingshot, and that moves the cursor to aim.
See,
I
that's
love
kind of
this bit.
nice. Aiming on
Tap
the
the A button to shoot.
the screen is not very fun.
Nah, that wasn't very fun, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to go back because I love how many times Miyamoto misses. And like, listen to Miyamoto. I know he makes like a sound after a little bit. I remember this.
You just move the Wii
Let's give it a
remote in front of
listen.
you, like you're moving a real slingshot, and that moves the cursor to aim. And you tap the A button to shoot.
Oh. See, I like how he's like, oh.
These are some
I like
fast
how Bill
spiders.
just has like the biggest smile on his face.
I mean,
He's just like, oh.
Okay.
he's having a lot of fun with
I'll
this
just
too.
check this one out
Our
real quick.
demo though. You know, I wonder if this is why the conference is like an hour and 17 minutes. Because normally they try to end it on a pretty even time. But if they're having issues with stuff like this during the demo, it probably went a little longer. It was probably supposed to be like an hour and 15.
Just tap the,
Possibly.
button to,
Or an hour and 10. Oh no.
So let's try this again.
I will say for the Wii, this game actually looks really
Tap the
good.
B button to
It
take another
does,
one out.
right? It does look
Oh,
pretty
I guess
solid.
Yeah, we'll take another one out. Raise the Wii remote.
Yeah,
to
I kind of noticed watching this actually. That it's kind of like a weird mixture of like, kind of like Wind Waker and like Twilight Princess, like because it has
Yeah.
like the style of Twilight Princess, but it has kind of the colors of like Wind Waker. It's not like as
Yeah,
dark.
definitely a more saturated and bright color palette versus the muted one that Twilight Princess had.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair, because I mean, for what I remember of the story of Twilight Princess, because I never actually finished it, like, having the dark muted tones, it was a pretty dark story, so...
The struggle.
So
Come on, Miyamoto, you got this.
looks like we're having a little interference here.
Yeah, having a little.
Oh, he's spinning!
See, but he's smiling like the whole time, right? Like it's not awkward because he's,
Everything went really well.
you know, he's just kind of. He probably finds this funny too, to be honest.
I mean, probably.
There we go.
Uh oh. Nope, not quite. I mean, kind of. I guess it's drying.
You know what, I wonder if it's stuff like this is the reason why the game got pushed to 2011, because I'm pretty sure it comes out in 2011.
Okay.
Could be.
So with the bow, what you do is you. press
Assuming
the
they
B
even
button,
give
you
us a
choose
release
your
date, they
item.
might not.
And
But
then you
it looks
hold
like
down
it's
the
pretty
stick
far
button
in,
on
it's
the
just
nunchuck.
issues with Wii Motion Plus, if anything.
Oops.
I do also like there's some interference here, but like I don't know what would be interfering with like the thing. Like I'm sure there's probably
So you
something
push
that would.
forward, you hold it back.
I
hold
mean,
back
it could
on
be
the
like
C-
all
on C
the
button on
Bluetooth
the
mics and
nunchuck.
stuff, if they have them, or even
And
just
when
like the
you let go, it
electronics
fires
equipment.
arrow.
Do they even have Bluetooth like in 2010?
I mean, I think they did, but I don't know how commonplace it was. But at the same time, this is a higher venue, so it might have been.
True.
No, so this is a beat
But
that
it
you
could
shoot
just be like the
and you fire
electronics
around.
around it,
You just
because
tilt the Wii
I
remote
know
to
even like
control it.
with my Switch and stuff like before at my old house. If I was playing it in handheld mode and I tried to connect online, if I had like distance between me and my router or like a wall or something, it would still disconnect with the Joy-Cons and stuff sometimes too. Like if there's something blocking it. So I imagine the Wii had similar issues.
I mean, probably. Oh,
Oh no!
you missed the bomb.
ジムがやった方が良かったですかね。
Gamin, you got this.
Because yeah, the Wii did use an IR sensor, I believe. So I
It
mean, there could be
did.
just something blocking it.
はい。じゃあもう次へ行きましょう。
All right, we'll go on to the next item.
Right.
さ
I like how it's like, okay, we can't show that. We'll
あ、諦めましょうか。
I like it's like we'll do it next time and Miyamoto shoots one off
Go
anyway.
on the Beetle and change over to the,
I mean, he had to go one last try, right?
I feel like there is a big struggle with
今度はね
this.
無知ですね。無知を。
Yeah,
next is the,
it just
uh,
seems like the
as I
motion
mentioned
controls are
earlier,
not
there's a whip
quite
command.
fine-tuned yet. Unless their
And with the
setup is just
whip,
causing
you
interference,
can,
but...
it changes its movement depending on how
I mean, and that's kind of the thing, right? Like something could legitimately be causing interference
pull
here.
back.
I mean, yeah, with how many different speakers and mics and even the projector and stuff there, who knows what could be causing the interference, right?
Yeah, and like let's be fair, IR sensors, pretty. Like I know it's still very common technology, I believe, but like still very like easy to block and easy to kind of interfere with. A very like old
They are.
kind of tech.
Because yeah, I don't know how many different devices use them, because the only like commonplace one I could think of is like TV remotes, but I know there's definitely more than that.
I imagine so.
I imagine cell phones might use them to an extent, I'm just not entirely sure what for, unless like the face unlock feature is related to it.
うまくできませんでしたけど、本当に快適に操作できます。
So
約束します。
I don't know if it's because of the wireless interference, but we did have a few technical difficulties. But I can assure you that when you play it on the show floor, you're going to see that everything plays very smoothly and very cleanly, and that the new item system is very streamlined and feels great.
で、ぜひともね、今日ショーフロアでこれを体験して帰ってですね。
So I hope you'll all give it a try on the show floor because it is here, and hopefully get a taste of what it feels like to adventure in Hyrule yourselves.
本当にハイラルを冒険してる気分になってほしいと思い
It's
ます。
like you've gone there and done all the things that Link has done yourself.
See, I will say already I'm having more fun with
One
this.
thing I need to talk about.
今もうほとんど最終段階に入ってるんですけども。
Well, yeah.
Working very hard on implementing these new ideas.
Let's see if
Not
that
talking
stays.
about the
Looks
Connect
like
so
it's gonna
long.
take through the end of this year.
来年には皆さんにお届けできますので楽しみに
So
して
you
く
can
だ
all
さい
look forward to playing The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword next year.
ありがとう
Ah, there you go. So it is next year.
Okay, so it doesn't get delayed. I couldn't quite remember if it had or not, but...
That wasn't YouTube. That was also. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
from the stream itself or from whoever recorded this.
I think it's just whoever recorded it.
I wonder if this area is actually in the game or if it's just kind of like a demo area. Because they're even
I
showing it
assume
through
it's in the
here.
game.
Yeah, that's how
I'd be
it's supposed to work.
surprised if they had a demo-only area.
I mean, they might.
I don't know. I don't know if Nintendo normally does that. I don't remember exactly what they showed off with Twilight Princess.
That one, I think they did show off like some stuff from the game. I mean, this probably is in the game. Maybe it's just like very early. Well, no.
I mean, it's probably early, because I think even stuff like Wind Waker, I think they were just showing off stuff like literally right at the beginning of the game.
But I mean, they're showing off a lot of different items though, so I'm not really too sure. Because I doubt you get all those that early, unless you can go back in dungeons
The
later.
Legend of Zelda Skyward
Well, I mean,
Sword
it's probably
with
an
Wii
area
Motion
in the
Plus
beginning of the game, but
is
they
just
probably
the
added
top
in
line
items just for
of our
demonstration
E3 story
purposes.
today.
Could be.
There's a lot more to come.
Because I doubt you get that bug thing
Our
that early.
goal
But
is
you
to
probably
provide
can come back and
new
get whatever he was trying to get with it
experiences
later,
for
right?
everyone. For the moment, let's deal with what Mr. Miyamoto has said is the highest goal of game design. Entertainment that can cross culture and age and gender. Today, we want to first introduce you to titles that are squarely based on this goal of universal appeal. Let's start with the wide world of sports, where developers can choose between ultra realism or over-the-top arcade fun. In the first case, the moves are real, the characters look real, and there are real-life stars on the packaging. We
Like
all
your
know the
Maddens.
names. Great
Yeah.
franchises like Madden NFL and Pro Evolution Soccer and MLB 2K. On the other hand, some prefer the arcade style that began with NBA Jam.
True. NBA Jam, pretty solid.
And in fact, you'll see a new exclusive version for Wii on the show floor. But over the years, one humble hero has taken us along
Mario?
the hardwood and the clay court.
Yeah.
Is this
to
the Mario
fairway,
basketball game?
The diamond and the pitch. And
It
this
could
year,
be.
Mario the sportsman stays true to his roots, but swings back into action in some venues where even he's never competed before.
Huh. Is this like a volleyball? This isn't the Olympics, right?
Oh,
No, it's just volleyball.
no. I mean, this could just be like a sports collection. I'm not entirely sure if it's just volleyball or not.
Yeah. Oh no, it's just hockey.
This seems vaguely familiar. I don't remember what the name is. I don't know if it's considered good or bad, to be honest.
Yo, Yoshi's pissed.
He gets a star and he starts flying. That's cheating.
Dodgeball.
So how does Bowser play volleyball? Doesn't he just like pop the ball with his spikes?
I mean, you'd imagine.
Dodgeball's pretty fun though. Hey, there's basketball. You know, I like how they did that to prove a point. It's just like, oh yeah, Mario can win at basketball even though he's short.
I mean, true. Sports mix.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if this is considered good or not.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Mario Sports Mix is pure fun, and you'll be in the action with Mario next year. You don't have to be a game expert to understand its potential popularity. But even among the experts, sometimes the common wisdom isn't so wise. Let me give you a few examples. Last year, you heard people predict that Wii momentum was starting to wane. Then, guess what? Last December in America, we set the all-time record for sales of any
You guys
video
were
game
wrong.
system of any kind in a single
I feel
month.
like that's something Nintendo's really been kind of
Others claim
making a point to
all
prove,
those
like for the
casual
past couple
Wii
of these
owners
years.
don't buy games,
Yeah.
but somehow
Because like I know,
more games
because it is
sold
kind of
per
true.
week
You
in
would have a lot of people saying like, oh, it's only a
than
fad,
any
really,
other
right?
platform
Like
ever
it'll go away.
over the
But no,
same month.
Nintendo, the Wii did keep selling for like quite a while.
There's a
Um,
recent
Even into
NPD
the Wii U
study
lifespan, yeah.
showing that
Yeah.
Wii owners actually play their systems
But to be fair,
more
part of that
often
is because
than
people can
other
use the
owners.
Wii U with the peripheral. So
Yeah, like we'll talk definitely more about that when that comes around, I'm sure.
Nearly as many people intend
Yeah.
to buy a Wii in the next 6 months as the other two home platforms combined. Underlying all those false assumptions about Wii,
I do wonder where
is a
they get their
mistaken
information
belief
on people who intend
that
to buy a
many
Wii. Is it
new
just from
Wii
like
owners
those
just
little
play
Nintendo
Wii
pamphlets
Sports
like from the
or
DS
Wii Fit
games?
for a while, and then lose
I mean,
interest?
I'm not too sure. I'd be kind of
That
curious about that
simply
too, to be
isn't the
honest.
case. The reason is the popularity of intermediate or bridge games that usher new players toward the world of gaming. Mario Kart does that. New Super Mario Bros. Wii does that. Mario Kart has sold more than 22 million copies, and New Super Mario Bros. Wii more than 14 million copies around the world. And now, we'd like to show you our next bridge title that moves consumers along their gaming journey. It begins with the more than 177 million Mii characters created around the world. And every one of them is invited to play. Let me introduce you to Wii Party.
Wii Party.
I do vaguely remember Wii Party. I never played it, but I've seen it get played.
Puts you in the middle of the action
Huh.
and redefines.
Yeah, I've
how to
never
play
seen this
fun
game
for
before. It's
everyone.
interesting.
Yeah, it's basically.
With 13 different
Mario Party.
game modes,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it's kind of like a Mario Party, but like
including board game
simpler.
Yeah. Okay.
Plus, like you have, I think a couple other mini games in there.
island, balance boat,
Yeah, like this. Where you gotta balance the Mii's.
all new house party games that put the party in your living room, where you'll interact with family and friends. To interact with the game,
That's kind of an interesting mini game. It's like put your Wii remotes down and guess which one the horse is.
Yeah.
and all the Mii's you care to invite.
Also, yeah, the audio got weird for like a moment. Don't worry
A
about
little
it.
bit.
Wii Party is yet another Nintendo game that will drive social interaction, and that phenomenon has worked for third parties as well. Last year,
Okay,
that
a
was
little bit
proved
now.
by the breakthrough dance hit, Just Dance. And this year,
Alright, so last year was the
to get
Just
up
Dance, huh?
and get down again, only on
Okay.
Wii.
I couldn't remember exactly when that started, but we also didn't watch the Ubisoft conference.
We did not. Okay, now this one was probably muted by YouTube. Rightfully
Yeah.
so.
I mean, Just Dance is very notorious for using like a lot of really famous copyrighted music.
Yeah. I like you say notorious, but that's just literally what the game is, to be fair, isn't it?
Well, it is with the game. I guess I mean when it comes to like YouTube coverage, right?
Yeah. That is true.
It's probably
There you
the
go.
reason why you don't see a lot of people stream this game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, it'd be very, very hard to do. Same with like your Guitar Heroes and stuff. And I was
Yeah.
actually thinking about it, like, because I know we were talking about DJ Hero before. And like, I actually
Yeah.
feel like you can get away with DJ Hero just because those are like, that's like remixed music. So I think you could actually get away with that, maybe. I'm not really sure. I don't quite know how that would work.
Maybe. Might just depend on your play. If you're not remixing it enough, then maybe you'll get caught.
I mean, maybe.
When we delivered our E3 news last year, a lot of you got jazzed in a different way, hearing about a more intense title, a new Golden Sun for Nintendo DS.
Dark Dawn.
It's now subtitled Dark Dawn. You haven't heard or seen a lot since then, so let's fix that right now.
Oh yeah, let's fix that. Ah yes, classic.
Yeah. Something has gone wrong.
I feel like it always does in these RPG like games. Is Golden Sun an RPG? I don't remember. It is, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of another one of those game series that I really know very little about.
Yeah, same here. It's always been one I wanted to give a try. I just haven't really had time to sit down and do it. There's just so many good RPGs I want to play. I'm still pretty behind on a lot of other stuff too.
Oh yeah. Also, look, I'm a character.
Nice. Okay, I like how they're using the dual screens for that.
Mm-hmm. That is pretty cool.
Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, it looks pretty alright. I'd be kind of curious to see, like, what people who have played the series
Golden Sun
would think of it. I
Dark
think the
Dawn
reception
for
is
Nintendo
considered,
DS
like, pretty
arrives
decent. I just think the
this
original
holiday
beats it out.
season.
I mean, probably.
And while Golden Sun brings back a lot of golden memories for
I get it,
millions of
Reggie. Good job.
fans, to
Nice.
millions of other gamers, Golden has an entirely different meaning.
How did
Who
one
would say
game
that
become
it's one of the
classic?
greatest shooters of all time?
Oh, the
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye remake.
Everybody.
I always forgot
I
this
ca-
is a thing that exists.
I did too. I've heard
It was
it's
the
really
first
not that
game
good.
that I could play multiplayer for 4 hours.
Yeah, and see, I don't know how.
For me, it was the original.
I think it's just one of those things that, like, because the gameplay is not, like, revolutionary, it just feels kind of lackluster in this day and age, right?
I mean, maybe.
Like, okay, let me, try that again.
Okay.
It's not surprising to me that they would actually try and do this, especially with the Wii, because I imagine it would give it quite a different feel compared to the original. I don't know if the game, like, has any issues, like, if it's buggy or it just feels really bad to play with the motion controls, but yeah, GoldenEye was really good for the time, but I feel like if they released a similar game today it would have to have more modern controls to really be good. Oh, hey, Oddjob. He's not shorter
true.
anymore.
So I do notice one. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll pause. It seems like we both have something we want to say about this. So
Yeah,
go
sorry.
first.
I was just gonna elaborate on that. For anyone who doesn't know about Oddjob, basically in the original GoldenEye, he was one of the characters you could play as in the multiplayer. But for some reason, they decided to make him shorter than like every other character model, and because aiming was relatively awkward, it actually took like another second to be able to aim down and be able to shoot him. So a lot of people would just pick Oddjob and like run around and try and beat people because they're playing the character with a smaller hitbox.
Yeah, and it's just harder to aim down in a game like
Yeah.
GoldenEye, right? I like you say they made him shorter for some reason. I believe it's just because the character and the actor are short. So I think they're just being accurate, weirdly enough.
Well, no, and
I
that's
think.
fair. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just weird that he's the only model that had a different size, at least as far as I know.
I mean, everybody else was kind of taller, I guess. I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure the actor and the character are like pretty small, but
Like,
I don't
it
recall.
was probably something they didn't really think about in terms of like competitive play. I just always found it really funny how he became like the meta character because of that one trait, right?
Yeah, I do like how it's the meta character though, like because the game didn't. I mean, it was the meta character if you want to be like an asshole, right? But I just found it kind of funny because this is like obviously way before online gaming would have happened. So to hear like a term like meta character for like a local like multiplayer game, it's just weird to me. I just find it kind of funny.
I mean, yeah, because like we never necessarily did it ourselves, because I don't know if we were even aware that it was a thing, but I have heard online about people like playing Golden Gun mode and like banning Oddjob from the group and
I
stuff like
mean,
that.
understandable.
Yeah.
So the thing that I wanted to say, which I noticed pretty much immediately, but didn't really get a chance to because I didn't want to interrupt.
I appreciate it. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. It's just it's just true. I didn't want to interrupt. Was that it's Daniel Craig's Bond, and not Pierce Brosnan, which I don't know if
the rights.
Yeah, so I don't know if because like to be fair, like that could play a very small, I mean maybe even for some people large role, and maybe why they didn't like the game. Because I mean Pierce Brosnan in like GoldenEye is just like perfect, right?
Yeah.
And I know there were a lot of people who were very like kind of lukewarm on Daniel Craig. Or at least they were when I kind of kept up with James Bond, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, because I know to a lot of people, like, funnily enough, like I think Pierce Brosnan is the first Bond a lot of people think of from my generation, and that probably only is because of this game. Interestingly enough, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that's why some people were kind of met on this. Like I'm sure some of it was gameplay, but I won't be surprised if some people were like, "Well, it's Daniel Craig, and where it should be Pierce Brosnan," right?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it plays a role, especially for the diehard Bond fans. I don't know if like the casual person would care as much, but I don't know, because like I don't know how a lot of the Bond movies really did, because like the only ones I really remember would be like Casino Royale, Quantum Solace, and Skyfall, and like I know the first two, Casino Royale and Quantum Solace, I believe were kind of mixed reception. I think it got a little better with Skyfall, but I've never watched them, so I'm not too familiar with them.
I believe so. And you notice how Megan is only naming ones with Daniel Craig as Bond?
Well, that's because I was talking about the Daniel Craig movies.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about James Bond in general. Sorry.
No, I just meant in terms of like Daniel Craig because you said the perception could be affected by him being in the game.
I mean, yeah.
So I should have clarified. But yeah, I haven't seen a lot of the Bond movies, so I don't know a lot of the ones with Pierce Brosnan in them.
Have you seen any of them? We talked about this
I,
before, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was even during an E3 where they showed a James Bond game.
I think I saw one with Pierce Brosnan in it, but I don't remember which one. And admittedly, I don't really remember a lot about the movie because I was pretty young, I think.
Do you have anything to go off of? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I just remember this one scene in particular where he was like jumping out of this big window down to like this lower like canopy or something, I think.
Okay, you're right. That isn't really a lot to go off of.
Like it's very vague. I just remember watching this chase, and then like at the end of the chase, he jumps through this window, and I remember me being a dumb kid thinking, "Oh, why would you jump through the glass window and break like that?" I didn't know about like sugarcane and like how they use it for windows on sets. So, sugarcane glass, I guess it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say like sugarcane. Like, I mean, it's understandable. I know about sugarcane, but I'm wondering where the sugarcane came in with the glass. Oh my gosh, probably means sugar glass. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, glass is designed to break easier for stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of dumb, but at the same time, like I don't know if I was like super interested in the movie at the time. I'm pretty sure I was probably just like watching it with my parents and like half playing Pokemon while I was doing it, so I don't remember a lot of the movie.
So, I mean, I'm trying to think which movie that would be. I think that would have been after GoldenEye. I want to say that'd probably be like
Yeah,
either Tomorrow Never Dies or I Think You Only Live Once is one of them.
Yeah, because I think it would have been like an early 2000s movie. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I want to say it was around like 2000 to 2003, give or take, somewhere around that period.
Yeah, see, I feel like it's one of those two.
But I also don't know if it's a movie that was new at the time or not, because I remember just watching it on TV, so it could have just been a repeat from something before that. But
I mean, it could have been.
not that it matters a ton. But I know you do want me to watch the movies.
I mean, hey, I think watching James Bond would be fun.
Yeah.
Been a while since I've seen a lot of movies too. Shall we continue?
Yes. Sorry for the tangent. Hope you enjoyed the story.
Hope you guys enjoyed the story. Yeah, that's the thing with these E3s. If you're new around here, I'm sorry, but we go on tangents sometimes. We talk and share experiences.
Yeah, we try to keep it limited when it's off topic, but I mean, I feel like that's pretty on topic.
That's
so
pretty on
it's kind
topic.
of okay.
I remember it. You remember it. But there are people watching today who aren't old enough to understand the impact that GoldenEye had when it first hit the market. If you've never experienced it, get
A true
ready
classic.
for a landmark gaming experience. On the other hand,
See, it's kind of funny. Like, I feel like GoldenEye is one of those games where it's like,
one thing I need to
it was
say.
so good, but it's aged
Activision's
poorly
new
just because of the
GoldenEye,
controls, right?
Exclusive to Wii, arrives in
Yeah,
stores
it's kind of
this
always been one
holiday.
of those games to me where it's like, you had to be there. If you didn't play it when it was new, it doesn't hold up nearly as well as
There's an
people would make you think.
entirely different
Yeah.
kind of hero whose global reach has spanned 8 decades. A mouse named Mickey.
Oh, is this like Castle of Illusions or something?
Our parents grew up with him. We grew up with
Castle
him.
of Illusions
Our
or
kids and
maybe Epic Mickey?
grandkids will grow up with Mickey
Oh,
Mouse.
that's true. It could be Epic Mickey. I think you're right.
And now, this universally recognized
Which is funny because
and
that
beloved
got announced for a remake
embarks on a new
relatively
chapter
recently.
to add to
couple
its
months
legacy.
ago.
Yeah,
or
within like the
something.
last 6 months.
In a game exclusive to Wii. It's called Disney Epic Mickey,
There you go.
and it sets
Yeah.
a new tone
Called it.
and a new direction for this world-renowned icon.
Honestly, like when I first saw this,
Ladies
I
and
thought
gentlemen.
it was such an interesting and unique concept. I just never actually got around to playing the game.
Same, actually, same. I also want to point out how smooth Reggie was, just real quick, right?
Yeah.
He flubs, but he doesn't call attention to it, which is what you should always do, right? I don't know where I heard this, but I always heard that if you're speaking and you say like a flub, just keep going, because if you don't draw attention to it, chances are people won't notice. right?
Probably not.
And like, here's the thing, like listen, he said something. I don't remember what. Hold on.
Called Disney Epic Mickey, and it sets a new tone and a new direction for this world-renowned icon.
Yes, he recount.
Ladies and
He meant
gentlemen,
renowned,
to give you all the details,
but he said
please
recount,
welcome
and he had like a slight hitch, but he kept it going.
Director,
Right?
Junction Point,
So good job to you, Reggie. Good job.
one of the producers of Disney Epic Disney.
Oh yeah, see, that's funny. He flubs again, right? Like you could hear him flub again because he said Epic Disney, right?
I was gonna say, did I mishear that, or did he just flub again?
He flubbed again, and once again, he doesn't draw attention to it. But if you look at his face, you can tell he goes like, "Yeah, I did it again."
Epic
Right?
Disney.
Yeah, like watch his facial expression. Let me go back a little bit.
And Adam Creighton, one of the producers of Disney Epic Disney.
Yeah, see, he's like,
Disney Epic Disney. Okay, that's really funny. I'm surprised that one didn't become more of a meme.
Me too. Like legitimately, it might just be because how he didn't call attention to it. Maybe. Who knows, right?
That's
Maybe
true.
people.
If he had a bigger reaction to it, it probably would have been circulated on the internet.
Maybe, but like Disney Epic Disney is actually pretty funny. I think.
I do like how you look at his face and you just like see for a second he's like, did I say that? And then like he finally reacts to it a little bit.
Yeah.
And strange.
A true professional.
A world as varied and memorable, we hope, as the
You know, he's
real
probably tired. He
Disneylands
probably had
and
to
stories
rehearse this
that
conference
inspired
so much in the last week.
Well, see what's so funny is like I actually see Reggie as the guy that doesn't really flub that much, right? He's very well spoken when he talks, right? Which is what makes him so good.
Yeah.
But like he's done it like twice in this one thing for Epic Mickey, which I find really funny.
You know what? Maybe the guy is just like on very little sleep. Maybe he's just tired.
Maybe. Did you think he went like backstage and was like, man, you guys hear me say Disney Epic Disney, man? That's pretty funny.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if like after the show he had a good laugh with Miyamoto and Bill.
Probably.
Some of the Disney inspirations can be hard to spot. I mean, Wasteland is really full of forgotten stuff. But identifying it all is part of the fun. One thing is for sure, though. No one will have any trouble identifying our hero, Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, Mickey, the man himself. The mouse himself.
A television celebrity.
Yeah.
Constant presence at theme parks, friend and teacher to our kids. But for all the success he's achieved, it's always felt to me, at least, that he hasn't quite become the video game hero he deserves to be. If my team
And he
I
still
have our
hasn't.
way,
Yeah, not really. Like, who knows? Maybe, like, I mean, maybe with the remake of Epic Mickey, maybe, like, it'll start. Like, see, I feel like he's had a presence.
Disney's history or Mickey's past
Yeah, definitely not like a video
life,
game
will allow
icon,
Mickey
right?
to do things no other game character could do.
Yeah,
And
I'm
offer
not
players
entirely
something
sure
they've
what
never
it is
seen
about
before.
Disney. They just seem to really
Our key
struggle with
innovation
like
lies
video
in our
game
core
development.
mechanic, drawing and erasing.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm not
The essence
really
of
too
this
sure,
cartoon
because
medium.
like, I'm sure you could make a really good quality Mickey Mouse
Using
game.
paint and thinner, the way Adam
It's
is
just
here,
how do you do it, right?
players
Like, this
can
is
erase
probably the
characters,
best like
objects,
idea they
walls,
have
plants, even the
for
ground.
it, you know?
Or they can restore
Yeah, I
everything
feel
to
like it
beautiful
comes down
painted
to
glory.
a similar issue that like
In other words,
Nintendo has with their
players can
properties, where like with Mickey
dynamically
Mouse
change
in
the game
particular,
world
they're
save it.
extremely protective about them
But
to
Mhm.
the point
how
where
each
they don't
player
license
decides
them
to
out to
change
like
the world
anybody.
makes a
Yeah,
difference.
true.
Or, as I like to
So,
put
and
it,
like at this
play
time, like I
style
don't
matters.
remember exactly who made this
How
game. It
you
might have
change
even
your world,
been Disney
how you
Interactive,
interact with
like
other
their internal
characters.
studio, but that no
changes
longer
how the world
exists.
looks, of course, but also how characters
Mm,
feel,
Although
true.
I
what
don't
they
remember
tell you,
who's
what they
doing the
don't tell
remake,
you,
if it's like
and how each
THQ or if
character's
it's something
story
else.
ends. Do you solve
Because
problems by
maybe they're
using the power
finally
of thinner
changing their
to
stance
erase and
on that,
remove
but that could be
obstacles?
the reason
Or do
why
you
we
solve
never really
problems
got
with
a
the
lot
power
of
paint,
Mickey
the
Mouse
creative
games in
power?
general.
Do you use paint
I mean, it
or
could be.
cleverness to turn
Well,
enemies into
you know what?
prey? Or do
Actually, you know
simply
what? I can't take it back.
do you take
I
time and use precious
through Kingdom
resources
Hearts,
to
I feel
solve
like Mickey
everyone's
has kind of
visual
become a bit of a
problems?
gaming icon.
Or do you focus exclusively
See, I was
on
actually just
saving
thinking that. I'm like,
wastelands
when I
from
think
the
of a
enemies
Mickey
that we
Mouse game, I
destroy?
think of Kingdom Hearts.
These are just a few
Yeah, right. Like I actually like you know what? I would actually go and take back what I said.
At the end of the
I think
day,
in his own
you
way,
want
he
each
kind of has
player
become a bit of an
to feel
icon
like
in
he or she
gaming,
has crafted a
just
unique
because of Kingdom
experience
Hearts
based
and
on
how
the
big of a
choices
thing that
made
is.
and the consequences of those
Yeah, which
choices.
is really funny if you think about
I
it, because
believe
like
the play
he's
style
an
matters
important
concept
character in the
is the
universe, but like
hallmark of
he's
modern
not
game
really
design.
involved in like a
And the
lot of the games
combination
up
of Mickey
until
Mouse and Nintendo
I think
means we can
Birth
take
by
that
Sleep is when
idea
we
to
start seeing a
larger
lot
audience
more
than
of them.
ever before.
I mean, that's probably pretty true.
Now that you've had a taste of a quest zone, let's check out another kind of
I don't
Mickey.
know how involved he is in 3 because I still
See,
have to get to playing
there are
that.
3
You
location
do.
types in Disney Epic Mickey. A game that combines the best of adventure,
Because even in something like Kingdom
platform,
Hearts
and
2,
role-playing
he's like
games.
mentioned at the
There are
beginning of
places
the
called
game. You see
action
like 1 or
zones,
2 scenes
where
with
you'll
him, and
engage
then
in
you don't
missions that can
really
affect
see
the
him
way
for
your
most of the
story
rest of the game.
unfolds and change the lives
I mean,
of the
that is
characters you
true.
interact with. You'll have to visit the Disney Interactive Studios booth or the Nintendo booth to learn more.
Okay, so
Honestly,
they just
though-
say Disney Interactive, so this is Disney Interactive.
Oh,
There's
okay.
plenty more to see than
Yeah,
we're
but
showing
honestly
here.
though, when it comes to
For
Epic
now,
Mickey, like I've
let's
always
watch as
really
Adam
loved the
jumps into
paint
a
and the
movie
thinning
screen
mechanic.
to
I
enter
always
our
thought it was
third
kind of
location
interesting.
type.
It is, right? It is a very interesting. Like that's kind of why I said this is one of the
What
best
you're about
ideas
to
they
see
could
is
have,
called
because
a
like it's
travel
such a
zone.
unique
And
idea,
it takes Mickey from one
and
part of
It is.
Wasteland
it
to
is really
another.
good, right?
These are side-scrolling adventures. I bet you
So
can tell that. Directly inspired by
I
the
don't know
large Disney
how
cartoons
I don't
and
know.
the
I'm
classic
like if they ever do
console
another
platform
Mickey
games
Mouse
we
game, I
all
do
know
kind of
and
wonder
love.
how they would go
Here's
about
one
it.
inspired by Steamboat Willie, the cartoon that introduced Mickey
Yeah,
to the
but
world.
honestly, I'm
There
not
are
too sure
many
because like
more
just with the
cartoons
nature
that
of
appear in
like
the
who Mickey
actual
Mouse
game.
is and like how they want to portray him,
In
I have a
closing,
hard time
let
seeing
me just
him
say how
being in
excited I am that
anything
Disney
but
has
like a
allowed me to create a
platformer.
game
Maybe
featuring
that's just
Mickey
because we've
Mouse.
only
It's
really
the
gotten
company's crown
platformers with
jewel.
him.
Not many people get
But
the opportunity to
I don't know. I'd
work
be
with a
curious to
star
see
of
them
this
try
magnitude,
like a different
to be a
kind of
part of
genre.
an 80-year history of joy
Yeah,
and
like I'd be
laughter.
curious about that
With
too.
Disney Epic Mickey, we honor Disney's rich
I'm
creative
just gonna
Like
see
I
if
doubt
we
they
Epic
do it,
Mickey.
but just like
But
imagine if they
to
did
be
like a
true to
turn-based
that
RPG or
heritage,
something.
we had to honor another aspect of Disney's history. Walt himself once said, "It's
So it
kind
looks
of
like
fun
it's
to
being
do
made
the
by
impossible."
a developer called
Innovation
Purple
has been
Lamp,
part of Disney's culture,
which
and
I
Nintendo
guess did the
from the
remaster
start.
for Battle for
To
Bikini
take Mickey
Bottom.
to the top of the video game world, we had to find a
Oh,
balance
okay.
of heritage and innovation.
I mean, I guess that
worthy
makes
of
a lot of
Disney and
sense.
Nintendo.
Like
It
they kind of
does.
prove the
I
repertoire
think
with
we've
like
done
a
a pretty darn
kid-friendly
good job.
platformer because they
But
did
I
Cosmic
invite you to
Shake
see,
too, right? Like
for
sequel.
yourself on the show
I don't
floor.
know. I don't see that one on here,
There are
but
team members waiting
I'm
there
only
to
looking on
show you
Steam,
more
mind
of the
you.
game.
Oh,
So show
okay.
up, see how playstyle matters, experience paint and
Purple
glitter
Lamp
for the
Games,
very
let's
first
see.
time with our hero, Mickey Mouse. Thanks to everyone at Disney and Nintendo who made Disney Epic Mickey policy.
Which I also want to point out that like I remember when people saw the box art for Epic Mickey, they're like, "Oh, this is gonna be a darker Mickey Mouse adventure," because it does kind of look like it's like is based on like the box art, right?
It does,
So
yeah.
it's like Mickey standing there with like paint coming out and stuff, but you don't see Mickey's face. He just looks. You only see the back of him, but he's like crouched in like I'm gonna fight kind of position, right?
Yeah.
And I remember people going like, "Oh, is this gonna be a dark Mickey Mouse game?" It wasn't, but you know.
I'd be very surprised if it ever was, to be honest.
Of course.
Yeah, they did do Cosmic Shake. You're right.
Okay. I thought so, but when you said they didn't, I was like, oh, did they transfer developers that quickly?
In 1992,
Like it looks like they worked on the Steam. Once this ported to Steam. Well, they worked somehow on Sea of Thieves.
Since that time,
Apparently, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, Rehydrated, The Guild 3, Cosmic Shake, and now Rebrushed. So I mean, they've done a good job, you know.
Yeah, it seems like it. Oh, is this
Yo,
Kirby
Cripster.
Epic Yard?
Oh, might be.
And yet somehow, he's managed to work his way into the hearts of a lot of hardened gamers. They know Kirby's got game.
You know, I like how he just
And
suddenly
hasn't
called
had
himself a hardened
starring
gamer.
role in a Nintendo home console in 7 years.
I could believe it.
So we decided it was time for a return engagement.
I could see Reggie talking smack on like an online game of some sort.
But questions were raised. Should a new game be cut from the same cloth, stitched together from previous work? Should Kirby stick to his knitting? Or
Yeah, they're using
good
all
puns.
the sewing
yarn
puns.
in a way that yarn has never been spun before?
So I know this
Honestly,
game.
The
Oh, go ahead.
answers are right
I
here.
would say, honestly, I always thought the concept of this game was like really weird and really interesting.
So like the thing with the, I've never played it, right? But I do remember when this came out. I know consensus was it's a good game if you go into it expecting to be treated like a baby,
Yeah,
right? Because it's a game where I don't think you can lose. Really?
I don't
Right.
think so, no.
So I know of a lot of people who played it and were like, man, it's like way too easy. But
Yeah.
you know, which I could understand being a problem. And it's the same for like Yoshi's Epic Yarn or whatever, right? The one that they did for Yoshi.
Yeah, Yoshi's kind of has the same problem, because, like, I never finished this game. I played, I want to say maybe about a third to half of it. I'm not too sure. I played probably about, like, 7 or 8 levels of it. And the game is, like, incredibly easy. Like, I just wasn't really having fun with it. That's why I kind of stopped. I don't know, maybe I would have more fun with it now, because it's hard to say, because I really did enjoy the Return to Dreamland remake that I played last year. So I might enjoy this more now, but I assume this game's a lot easier than that one, because that one's actually pretty difficult at points.
Well, yeah, 'cause that's like a more classic like Kirby game. Like I think it's just based off a classic Kirby game. Whereas this one, yeah, is like, you know, it is, as far as I know, made for, like, not made for someone younger, but something that a younger player could play, right?
Yeah.
Which isn't bad.
Well, yeah, I don't think it necessarily makes it a bad game, but
Even with
at
its
the same
new art
time,
style,
like,
the most
I don't know.
obvious
I've
difference
never
about
really liked
Kirby's Epic
playing
Yarn
games that
is not
have,
the way
like,
it
no
looks,
element of, like,
but the way
challenge
it
or, like,
works.
consequence, even when I
Tried
was
in the
younger.
booth, I felt a difference, and I think you will too. Kirby's Epic Yarn is slated for release this fall. Less than a year ago, Dragon Quest IX from Square Enix debuted in Japan exclusively on Nintendo DS. It's become a phenomenon, selling 4.2 million copies there. This
Pretty good.
epic adventure with you
Nowadays, that'd be considered like way too small, but back then that was pretty alright. I'm pretty sure.
Honestly, I've always been wanting to try Dragon Quest IX again, because I bought it, like, years ago, and I played, like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 hours. Didn't get very far into it. But I was also pretty bad at RPGs, and I remember just finding it very difficult. So, maybe if I played it now, I'd have more fun with it.
Maybe.
To customize your character, and an infinite number of randomly generated treasure maps. But that would be selling it short. What fueled the craze in Japan is the interaction between players. It practically begs for multiplayer action. Dragon Quest IX links you up with as many as 3 friends to quest together. And the social element doesn't end when you shut your DS. In tag mode, the game will independently seek out other nearby players, quietly adding new characters and new maps to your adventure.
See, I didn't even know that was a thing on the game.
And when I say deep, let me add this. Chico, maybe the top Dragon Quest fan in our treehouse, has now logged more than 140 game hours.
That's a lot.
She feels like she's just getting started. Gamers new
I mean,
to the
yeah, Dragon Quest
franchise
games are pretty
can get
long.
involved at their own pace, but watch out, you'll get sucked in too. Dragon Quest IX, exclusive to Nintendo DS, arrives here in the US in just 26 days. And then, on the last day of August, passionate players on Wii will experience a signature moment with an old friend.
Yo, Other M. We talked about Other M a lot last time, so I don't think I don't think I personally have more I could say, other than I know it's disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about the game aside from the stuff going around the reception of Samus, but I've heard it's kind of mediocre. I do want to eventually play the Metroid games.
Yeah, and like I would like to play the Other M, at the very least, just to experience it.
Yeah.
Even if I know the game is bad, right?
Yeah.
See, like, from this kind of gameplay, right? Like, it seems alright, you know?
I mean, yeah.
And the music definitely does invoke, like, a lot of Super Metroid kind of vibes. I don't know how the music is in like the Metroid Prime's probably the same, if I'm being
I
real.
assume it's similar.
Because I feel like Metroid's always kind of had that kind of like sound style, if that makes sense, kind of like haunting, like weirdly haunting, right?
Yeah, the air of
Metroid
mystery.
Other M,
Yeah.
what hasn't been lost is a sense of isolation and exploration that has always been the hallmarks of the franchise. But Nintendo,
Like honestly, if there's any game that Nintendo works on that I think would be really interesting to see matured up, it'd be Metroid, because I think Metroid would actually be especially interesting if they, you know, made like an M-rated game or something, right? Like never would happen, mind you, but it's an interesting thought experiment, right?
As you know, Retro
Yeah.
Studios in Texas has produced some great Metroid titles. But when they said they were ready for something new, we asked them to take one of the most treasured franchises in video game history.
Donkey Kong Country
and make it
Returns?
magic again. If you listen, you can hear it coming.
Thanks, Reggie.
Nice.
I heard really good
So I've
things
heard
about
this
one.
game's good.
Oh yeah. This one I've heard is like super good. And of course you got the meme of funky mode as well, right?
What's the funky mode?
I don't know. I think they just, I don't know if they like re-released the game or something, but I just remember like you have the meme of like the box art and at the top which says now with funky mode, and it has like Funky Kong like surfing on top for some reason.
Are you sure it's this game and not Tropical Freeze?
It may be Tropical Freeze. I'm not too sure. I just know one of them is funky mode, and I find that funny.
Because I can't say for sure, because I know this eventually came out on DS or 3DS later, I think 3DS. But I'm pretty sure that when they released Tropical Freeze on the Switch, the big thing was that they added Funky Kong.
I don't know.
But I don't have the game, and I don't quite remember. It could be both, to be fair, but...
I think you're right that it's probably Tropical Freeze. Either way, I find funky mode funny.
I mean, yeah, it's always pretty funny.
That's mostly what I wanna get at, even if I'm wrong about which game it is. I still think that, like, regardless, I think the game's like pretty cool. I never played it, but it's good that they brought it back, and I'm glad they didn't ruin it.
Yeah, it is one of those games I would like to play eventually. I just generally wait a while to get Nintendo games because it's not like they're gonna get cheaper.
I mean, true, but they could get more expensive.
We've talked about today.
I mean, that's true. I don't
Donkey
know
Kong
if this
and
game goes
GoldenEye.
for a ton, but I haven't looked it up.
And Metroid. You might find your game memories.
Yeah, so they're bringing back a lot of like nostalgic kind of
We're going to
titles.
close today by throwing you in the
Yeah,
other
although there is a
direction,
lack of
far
Star
into the
Fox.
future of gaming.
Yeah, I think Star Fox is
It was Super Mario 64
dead for the
that
moment.
first moved us into,
Well,
into
and
fully
F-Zero, but yeah,
rendered
they're
game
probably both
world.
And F-Zero.
It was the Wii Remote that got us up off the couch.
Oh, is this them announcing
into a new world
the Wii Shop
of
with
game
Super
control.
Mario 64?
And today, as I mentioned at the outset, we're not just raising the bar, but we're making that bar extend far into the distance. 3D play on Nintendo 3DS is on the way.
Oh, okay. I was like, into the distance. What does that mean for the bar? Because raising the bar means you're raising standards. So what happens when you push the
CES
bar
this
away
year,
from you?
We started hearing a lot about 3D in your living room.
I don't understand that analogy,
And of
Reggie.
course, initial investment there is going to...
If people are laughing, why'd they laugh?
An initial 3D in your living room.
Oh, he flubbed again.
And of course, an initial investment there is going to run...
I wonder if something popped up on screen. Oh yeah,
And
there you
there's
go.
the fact that there's nothing to watch yet or play on big screen 3D. But maybe...
Yeah,
most
this
of
would have
all,
been just when 3D TVs
it's
were
the
becoming a
glasses.
thing, and they kind of failed.
Man, those glasses.
Yeah.
And make no mistake.
Yeah, so
that
the
kind
announcement of the
action
3DS,
forward statement doesn't
I think
come
pretty big. Because the
Don't
3DS is
yeah.
pretty good,
pay a hefty
from what I
amount
understand.
of money for those glasses.
And yeah,
Oh,
and they're
yeah,
making
the-
a good point here too, right?
person in the room.
It's like, yo, you
Yeah.
need glasses for it. But with the 3DS,
Nobody
no,
said
you
it was
don't.
really easy.
And that's really
Right.
impressive.
No one but
Oh yeah,
Nintendo.
no, like when they first unveiled
In
it, like
fact,
I don't know if
we
it's gonna
think
happen
there's a
this year or
better
next year
way.
if they're gonna get into
A solution
details with the
that lets you
showcase.
take
But I
3D
remember
along
being
with
like
you
absolutely
wherever
amazed
you
that
go.
you could get 3D to work on the screen
With
without any kind
ample
of
game
glasses.
content available the first day on the market. And maybe,
Which
best
is
of
really
all,
funny actually, because like
no
when it comes to my
glasses.
3DS, like I used it playing like Ocarina of Time, but like I didn't really use it in a lot of games, mostly because it's the kind of thing where like if you're not looking at it at a very particular angle, it's just really made me feel nauseous. So it got better with the new 3DS though. Oh, he's actually there!
Oof. Yeah, I remember when like those 3D glasses became a thing as well. I was really surprised because it's like, whoa, it's not like the red and blue kind of 3D glasses. That's weird. I thought they were like so much better, right? I was like, wow, this is actually like a really good style of 3D glasses.
Oh, for sure. I definitely like them more, and like they kind of mentioned there, the first movie I ever saw with those 3D glasses would have been Avatar.
Is that it? I like to have the smoke too.
Yeah. You know, I like how they went from him just pulling it out of his jacket to having like a special pedestal with like the dry fog and stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Satoru Iwata.
Yo, Iwata.
Everyone, this is Nintendo 3DS.
Like it's a clever naming too for the system.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to try this. As you can see, it has two screens, and the upper screen has 3.5-inch widescreen display. And yes, it will show you full 3D graphics without the need for special glasses.
It's amazing that they did that, you know?
As you know,
Yeah.
Nintendo produced first.
I wonder if they put a patent on the technology, because I'm kind of surprised that no one's tried to do something similar.
See, that's what I was gonna say too, because like if they could do it, then I'm a little surprised no one else has given it a shot, because I don't know, man. Like imagine even like seeing a 3D movie without glasses at all, right?
Well, yeah, or even I was thinking they could do it on like on a smartphone. I think that would work really well for that.
Yeah. Like I'm not even too sure how they did it. Is it like an effect of the two screens?
Let me introduce you.
I want to say the top screen is essentially layered with two layers, because when you change the dial on it, it essentially changes how close and far away the pictures are to make the 3D effect. I think that's how it works, but I'm not 100% sure.
So you could, in theory, do this with like a movie screen or TV screen or something, right? Huh.
Yeah.
Maybe they do have a patent on it.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm thinking they have a patent, right? Because I'm like, I'm kind of surprised that no one else has really tried to do this, because like, I think that would be a really good selling feature for like Apple or Android if they put it on one of the newest phones.
As we experimented, however, we realized that.
Although maybe it's the kind of problem where like, because of the way it works, you essentially have to have content that is able to be 3D. Because if I'm not mistaken, they essentially had to overlap two of the same images, like of whatever game you're playing, to get the 3D effect, like on the top screen. So maybe they just decided it's not really worth trying to do on a phone, because not all content would work with that, right?
Maybe.
Because I know especially near the end of the 3DS lifespan, there was a lot of games that just weren't supported in 3D because the 2DS existed, and Nintendo wasn't making it mandatory to support it, I think.
It's been 6 years since we launched Nintendo DS. So
6 years, huh?
Yeah, I do appreciate how they just had the normal Nintendo DS, but they're like, yo, the 2DS that's not 3D. right? Like, there's something I find really funny about it. Like, I assume it's like better. I assume it's like an updated like version of the system still. But I just really find it funny how they went from non-3D to 3D, and then they just made another non-3D system, like a change, right?
Well, yeah, and like the big thing about it is that they had all these age ratings on the games, and I think even on the system itself, where they didn't recommend 3D for kids under 7, I believe. And the whole thing with the 2DS is they wanted a handheld that was better for kids and generally, I think it's generally more durable because it's not a clamshell design. So that's kind of where the 2DS came from, is they were trying to make something more suitable for kids since they couldn't use the 3D anyway, and something a little bit cheaper for families to be able to get for their kids.
All right. That makes sense.
Because I don't know if it's considered like on par with like the new 3DSs or if it's like similar technology to the original 3DSs. Because yes, Nintendo has a very awkward naming scheme.
They do.
You can also take photo and view them in 3D.
But yeah, I never had a 2DS, so I'm not entirely sure like how it feels to play one. I've always really liked the clamshell design, so like I don't know if I'd ever get one unless I can get it like really cheap somewhere.
Take and enjoy 3D digital pictures. You may want to try out this function at our booth. And I want to mention one more aspect. Nintendo 3DS is also capable of displaying 3D Hollywood movies. We are not announcing any specific plans this week, but at our booth, you will find demonstrators showing you 3D movie trailers for releases from Disney, Warner Brothers, and DreamWorks.
See, I don't know if they actually had like 3D movies and stuff on the DS. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I can't really say.
And the Disney's Tangled.
Because honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that got canceled as well.
On Nintendo 3DS. To our knowledge, this is the first time any such 3D content has been demonstrated without the need to wear glasses. However, in the end, gamers care most about games. You may remember an announcement we made in January 2009, establishing a joint venture called Project Sora. It was led by Mr. Sakurai.
So I don't know.
I can announce that.
I'm guessing maybe that never became like official.
Yeah.
But that might, and I'm only really saying that because I'm seeing a lot of things about like, yo, I modded my DS to play 3D movies and stuff like that. So I'm mostly seeing like a lot of mods for it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not too sure if it's actually something that can happen. But it's interesting that it was planned, at the very least.
I mean, yeah, like if they decided to go through with it, I think it would have been decent. I think the issue comes with just really how small the resolution is on the DS screen or 3DS screen.
Yeah.
Also, Kid Icarus, really great game.
Yeah, like I want to point out how this was a big surprise because we didn't get a Kid Icarus game since like the first Kid Icarus back on like, you know, the old school
NES.
classic Nintendo, right? So this was actually quite a big surprise to see Kid Icarus because for the longest time there are so many people clamoring for like a new Kid Icarus, right? It's like, oh, where's Kid Icarus? It's been like a dead game for like forever. Are they ever gonna make another one? Because he was seen as like maybe not like a mascot character for Nintendo, but like, you know, people liked Kid Icarus, right?
He was one of their first IPs aside from Mario 2, and they kind of just neglected him for a very long time.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, where is he? And then this happened, and I do remember a lot of people being pretty excited. Going like, whoa, wow, they're finally bringing back Kid Icarus.
Yeah.
I don't know where he is now. I know he's in Smash, so at least that's something.
I was gonna say, I don't think he's had a game since this, unfortunately.
I think there was another one, because he had Dark Pit in like one of them. So I think this did get a sequel. Or is Dark Pit an Uprising?
I thought Dark Pit was in something else. Hold on.
Let's see, Kid Icarus series. Let me actually have a look. See.
Hurry, Pit. People need your help.
No, I guess you're right. Uprising, I think, was the last one. Was Dark Pit and something else then? Am I just misremembering? I thought this did have a sequel. But maybe
no,
it didn't.
I never did, I'm pretty sure.
We prepared this video just for our presentation today.
Huh, weird.
Yeah, it looks like they only have the 2 games in the franchise as far as I can see.
The impact of Kid Icarus in 3D.
Well, maybe eventually we'll get another Kid Icarus.
And we'll have 3D game
Hey, I mean, if they follow the release pattern, then maybe we'll get a sequel to this on the Switch too, or whatever their next gen console is.
Maybe.
What you'll notice is that
Still, at least he's around in Smash, right? Like, at least he's not, like, forgotten, I guess.
the surprise it
Yeah.
offer is not limited to the characters themselves. In addition, there is a much better sense of the height, width, and the depth in your gaming worlds. And therefore, you have much better ability to navigate them. For example, in Kid Icarus, you can more easily judge the distance between yourself and the floating object. But it's not just the 3D graphics that make Nintendo 3DS unique. Communication can even occur during sleep mode, as Nintendo 3DS periodically searches for Wi-Fi access points or other Nintendo 3DS systems which are also ready to respond. It will then automatically communicate with them without you knowing it. You might remember Nintendox used a somewhat similar function. But in that case, communications were limited because if those owners started playing another game, the communication stopped. Nintendo 3DS works differently. The hardware itself supports automatic communication regardless of what software is being played. Nintendo 3DS can also communicate using the internet through Wi-Fi access point. Owners can navigate valuable information without having to do anything proactively. Even when you are not near a Wi-Fi access point, you may discover that new stages, new quests, ghosted,
Yeah, see, like, that's a neat idea, right?
have
Yeah.
already been downloaded. And we will provide this kind of very unique communication service in a way that can be used by anyone, regardless of their technical knowledge or their gaming experience. And there is no need to pay a monthly fee.
Once again, still nice that they kept that up.
Now, let me conclude today by returning the topic of games. Before Nintendo DS and Wii were launched, the majority of people in our industry cannot believe that these unprecedented ideas from Nintendo would work. So, in those cases, it was our job to build an install base, first by developing and marketing own first-party software. Very fortunately, the situation is different this time. We at Nintendo have launched many hardware systems. But in this case, I feel we will enjoy our biggest launch support ever from third parties. Of course, in time,
I do think that was pretty true with the 3DS.
several kinds of games. For example,
Yeah, I believe
Mr.
so.
Miyamoto is working on a 3D version of Nintendox, and you are going to find it contains some new visitors.
And plus cats. Pretty impressive.
You will also discover several other Nintendo titles this week. But I like to spend more time introducing Nintendo 3DS software coming from third parties. Behind me, you see a partial list
Yay,
of companies
Atlas!
who intend to
Yeah,
publish
Atlas is
software
there. Yeah, a lot of very good and fairly large-ish companies.
Draw your
Yeah.
attention to several of them. Activision and DJ Hero. Level 5. Square Enix, including Kingdom Hearts. THQ.
They had Saints Row on it.
Arts, including Madden.
Apparently. I did find it funny how the crowd like laughed at that for some reason.
Yeah.
Capcom and Resident Evil.
I wonder if it ever actually came out.
Warner Brothers Games.
Let me have a look.
Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed. Namco Bandai Games.
Ridge Racer.
And Konami with Metal Gear Solid.
No, it was canceled,
To all
apparently.
developers and publishers,
Okay, I
want
thought
you to
so. I
know
feel like I
that
would have heard about that. It probably would have
I'm
been pretty
truly
bad, so it's probably a good
grateful
thing.
Yeah.
for the support.
I guess it was going to be called Saints Row Drive-By.
Oh, see, that could have been cool.
And to conclude my section today, I like to have some of these developers themselves.
Running adjacent
describe
from
their
Saints Row 3, so I guess it would have been kind of like a bit of a side story.
Nintendo 3DS.
Oh.
Thank you for your attention, and please enjoy the show.
Woo, thanks, Iwata.
Woo.
What do game developers think about 3DS? I'd be curious, yeah.
Screen. Can I use expletives in a Nintendo media briefing?
前情報全くなかったんですよ。とにかく座ってくださいと。で、このスクリーン見てくださいって言って突然 3D になったんで。
Brilliant was my first reaction.
I saw some objects floating in the air, and it actually made me want to pick it up, which I thought was really impressive for such a small handheld screen.
Honestly, if Kojima did more development for like the 3DS, I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to put puzzles in the game you could only see if you were in 3D.
I could believe it. Yeah, like I would not be surprised if you know, he decides to even do something in like VR. You know?
Yeah.
I could see Kojima doing something in VR.
See,
and
I
probably
would
having
love
a
to
good time with
play. Yeah, I would love to play like a VR Kojima game, but I would also be terrified at the same time because I don't know what he would put in there.
Yeah, true. Very, very true.
Resident Evil のシリーズ、これは、完全オリジナルです。ゲームとしてそこに秘められた謎であったりとかですね、もっともっと探求してみたいっていう部分っていうのがきっと出てくると思うんですね。壁の奥に何があるんだろうとか、このタンスの奥に何があるんだろうみたいなことっていう意識させることができると思うんですね。
What's behind the furniture?
True.
Screen, D-pad, and now the analog controller.
It allows us to have more precision in the controls of our character,
which opens up interesting combinations of gameplay.
So I'm really glad that Nintendo is trying to push their online connectivity. The ability to capture 3D content with the
I like how that's all they had to say about the online.
That's pretty funny.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's just like, oh, it has online now. Cool.
What could not be cooler than that? Who would not want to be a part of that in the future?
Thank you, Mr. Iwata, and thanks as well to all of our development partners. When we began this morning, we promised something for everyone, from Zelda to Mario, Kirby to Donkey Kong, Mickey to Dragon Quest, Golden Sun to GoldenEye, and Metroid to Kid Icarus.
I mean, it's true. I'd say that they hit it with something for everyone.
You're looking forward to.
Yeah.
But we also talked about new experiences. And we believe nothing at E3 will deliver on that like Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah, like that itself is a very good announcement.
Perfectly well will now be perfectly transformed. What's added literally is a new dimension. All of you watching this on e3.nintendo.com, please stay connected because we've got more news and additional content coming up momentarily that isn't available anywhere else. I wish we could all transport here to LA this week so that you could get your hands on Nintendo 3DS at our booth.
I see what you're doing, Reggie. You're trying to make us
And
jealous.
when you finally experience it,
True.
you'll understand.
Well, with the
Unfortunately,
3DS in
there
particular,
is
it's just like,
no
yeah,
way
you can't
to
really show that off on
adequately
screen,
represent
unfortunately.
the Nintendo
Yeah, like it's kind of
3DS
what makes it a little bit
experience
bold
on
to
stage.
show off at something like E3. Like you have to show
So
it
we
off, of
decided
course,
to try and
but it's not
communicate
something you can really
a
show,
very different way.
right?
Yeah.
Let's see how this works.
Although I will give them credit, because I think about when this came out, they did have a lot of like demo booths in a lot of stores that I went to.
They did. That's true.
Oh. Super Mario 3D Land, or is this just a generic promotion?
Fire water. Yeah, it's really funny to think that like Nintendo is still kind of doing these little skits in their directs now.
Yeah.
I like to think that's part of what makes them a fun company. Hey, Star Fox mention. Rare.
But where is he?
Oh.
Bye, Reggie.
Yeah, he's gone.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty funny.
It sure felt real to me,
Good job, Reggie.
but I'm not so sure it did for you yet. Even with this video, it's still not a perfect answer. In fact,
See, I think it
we
would have been a
spent
pretty
a lot
Chad
of
move
time
if he
trying
kept
to
the jacket
convey
on the entire time.
impact
That would have been
of
pretty Chad.
Nintendo 3DS. But in the end, there's nothing like the real thing. So we asked ourselves, could there be a way to do that right now? And the answer is yes. We're going to let all of you here in the Nokia Theater travel to that third dimension right here and right now. And that kind of travel probably calls for a tour guide. So we want to take this opportunity to introduce you to the people who will accompany you, both at the show floor all week and right here in the Nokia Theater.
So are they just gonna walk around then? And just like show people 3DS? That's kind of a good... That's kind of fun, actually.
Here's how it's gonna
That
work.
actually makes a lot of sense. It gives them an
Our
opportunity to be able to
demonstrators
see a
are
lot
equipped
more
with
people
Nintendo
on the show
3DS
floor if they're literally
devices
just walking
that will
around
show
with the
you how
DSs.
video game characters
Yeah.
and video game environments appear.
Although
in
I
that
do
new
find the
dimension.
booth babes kind of funny.
It's 3D.
It is kind of
right in your
funny.
hands. So, for the moment, I ask you to please stay seated while they work their way out to you. The test drive on Nintendo 3DS will take place just on the other side of the camera riser behind you. The 3D sensation should be immediate. It requires nothing but the naked eye. No more glasses. And in order to give everyone the experience this morning, we're putting a time limit on your Nintendo 3DS time.
Ooh.
What you'll be
time
seeing
limit.
is just a taste. But be
I mean, that makes
assured,
sense.
Live gameplay
Okay,
will
I
be
do like that
available
because they
at
have the
Nintendo
screens lit up.
booth
You can kind of see them
all
walking
week
down the
long.
aisle.
Yeah.
Finally, also for those of you here on site, there's one other opportunity. Since everyone isn't going to be able to hold the Nintendo 3DS here at the same time, So we're importing another element of our Nintendo booth right here to the Nokia Theater. In front of you here, rising from the floor, are multiple gameplay stations to let you become the first people ever to put the playable The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword through its paces.
That's like very clever of Nintendo to kind of do, actually.
Enjoy your gameplay. There's no
That
rush.
is.
The shuttles that will bus you to the next event won't begin leaving until 11 o'clock. And for everyone, when this week is over, we trust that you'll agree that Nintendo has once again raised the bar. Thanks again. Have a great week. Enjoy Nintendo 3DS, and please enjoy E3.
There you go. Everybody, time to get their pictures and go on in. Give it a shot.
Get up, get there first.
Okay, see, so that was pretty good. I enjoyed that one. Very fun conference. It showed off some cool things. 3DS, really solid. Never had it myself. I did play it a little bit at one of my cousins, I believe. Well, I hadn't played. Well, where was I when I did play it? My cousin had one, and I tried it, but I never actually got one myself. A lot of good announcements, actually. A lot of fun in general. Yeah, like even the mistakes I felt were fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a good conference. Like, they did have a bit of trouble with Skyward Sword at the beginning, but, like, other than that, it was pretty smooth and it was pretty engaging. Much better than Microsoft's.
Oh, much, much better than Microsoft's. Like, one thing I will say about this for sure is the one thing that Nintendo is definitely going to have going for it, especially this year, is they don't need to explain motion controls. It's literally just what the Wii is. They're just doing what they have been doing, which is good. Microsoft and Sony need to show off their motion controls, which is probably going to make their conferences boring, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure Sony's is going to be the same way, unfortunately. I feel like theirs is probably going to be boring. I could be wrong.
Most likely, but we'll see when we get there.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. Because they're definitely going to do their best to go like, yo, look at our motion controls. Look at Wii Move. Remember how we said, not Wii Move, PlayStation Move. Remember how we said we're going to change the look of the controller? We didn't. And then,
it's exactly the same.
It's exactly the same. So,
Yeah.
overall, though, I enjoyed the Nintendo one. I feel like Nintendo is going to win this year pretty easily for me, but I don't know. I'm curious to see what Sony has. Maybe Sony will be not as cringe as I remember it being. I'm pretty sure I remember this year being very, like, meh in general, right?
Yeah.
But we'll have to see.
Yeah, like, I think I agree. I think it's likely. I'm just not gonna pass any kind of judgment until we see Sony's, but I think Nintendo probably has it in the bag.
I really think Nintendo is probably going to win this year. Like you said, though, I'm not going to say for sure yet. Maybe Sony will blow me away. Certainly possible, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to say?
No, I think I'm good. That was a fun conference.
All right, so we'll be moving on to Sony's. For now, though, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We hope you all enjoyed, but for now, it's time to cue the outro. So frag out, and we shall catch you guys later.
Bye!